Hi everyone, welcome to Geekgasm TV. My name is Gray and today I thought I would talk about my journey with Silksong and why I've decided I need to just put it down. I should be clear right from the outset that there is a lot about Silksong that I really love. The game has brilliant exploration, the traversal stuff is really great. Once you get to grips with and get a bunch of the skills that are available to you, it becomes a joy to move around. Honestly, even in its most challenging sections, the bit I'm playing right now is kind of like a notorious run back for the Last Judge. Once you get kind of used to the route that you need to take and where you need to go, it becomes fairly straightforward. That isn't to say there aren't frustrations. The fight itself, though, never felt unfair. I kind of understood where I was going wrong. The boss was reasonably easy to read, and although it took me a while, and I did feel like I was banging my head against it for a bit, I got past it and into Act 2, and that's where my problems started to manifest themselves. The first fight that I found where I really struggled was the Four Brothers Cygnus fight. This is found in the deep docks. It's a bit of a challenge to get to initially, but you can create a bit of a shortcut for yourself, so it's really straightforward to get back to on the run back. But the fight itself, while it looks fairly straightforward at this point, becomes a pain because there are ads. Team Cherry definitely like throwing flying enemies at you, often flying enemies that are able to chuck things at you like that one just tried to against me. Now they can be relatively straightforward to deal with, but you've got to have the right tools equipped. And if you keep failing the fight, you'll run out of tools and then you'll have to go farm beads and buy more tools. That can be a really frustrating loop. And I found myself stuck on that loop in this fight, not necessarily because of the ads, but because of the final phase of the fight when another brother decides to join in. And I couldn't beat it. I could not get past it. And I'm very aware this is definitely a skill issue on my part. But what's frustrating, I think, about this is that so much of the game does feel accessible, does feel beatable. But this was my first experience of really struggling. However, I got incredibly lucky on a run. Gron got stuck on a bit of scenery. And I cheesed it. I just hit him while he was stuck and I won the fight. He basically stays up there in that position, enables me to beat the other brother, and then I'm able to just wail on him. He does kind of come loose eventually towards the end of the fight, but yeah, it was the only way that I ended up beating it. And obviously that kind of feels a bit like cheating, I guess. But anyway, I took it, the fight was done, and I moved on to the high halls. Now I really liked the high halls as an area. I thought it was a really fun area to move around. The traversal was tricky but enjoyable. But you have to get through this to progress the story. This is towards the end of Act 2. And this fight is nuts. It's a 10-phase fight. And I, like lots of other people, really struggled with it. So I Googled some solutions, and there is a way of being able to get one of the NPCs to come and help you. I'll link to a video explaining how you do that in the description of the video. I found it so difficult, this fight, but bringing the NPC in, I think she's called Chakra, made it ridiculously easy. She just jumps in, she throws her rings around, and she does all the hard work for me. In fact, I'll be really honest, for the final phase of the fight that I am going to show you at this point, I just cling to a wall and let her deal out all the damage and don't worry about taking any risks whatsoever. So I cheesed it. Now I've got to be honest, although I think it's really cool that that's possible, that you can get an NPC into a particularly difficult room and get them to help you, it wasn't the most satisfying experience ever either. And although I think perhaps this might have been the breaking point, it ended up not being because of that. And actually what that then led to was me continuing to explore and discover other bosses and other areas that were even more challenging and even more difficult to get past. The first sinner is found in the slab, an area of the game you unlock pretty early on, but you have to go back to with a key to unlock the area where you can find this boss. I died here so many times.
I actually got kind of okay at the early phases of the fight, but the longer it goes on, the quicker the boss gets, the tougher it gets, and then there's a final phase that I just haven't been able to get past at all. And you know what?
It just left me super frustrated. I really did bang my head against this fight for hours before eventually just deciding to walk away from it. Now, I'm very aware this is definitely a skill issue. I also haven't experimented very much with the other weapon types, so you know, some of this probably sits on my shoulders as well. I'm a 52-year-old man. Beating video games is not as easy as it used to be. But this drove me nuts, not being able to win here, despite kind of understanding all of the mechanics. At this point though, we should probably have a conversation about bile water. Now again, this area is notorious for being difficult to navigate. The platforming is really challenging. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that can kill you, debilitate you. You can pick up like a poison debuff, which means you can't heal properly. It's genuinely really frustrating. But despite all of that, the music here is amazing. And once you get used to the way the traversal works here, it's frustrating, but also kind of fun, I guess. The biggest challenge here though is the run back to the boss at the end of the area is particularly tricky. It's really easy to pick up the poison debuff. So I was often finding myself getting to the fight and I was already at a disadvantage. This little section coming up is particularly tricky. You've got to drop off this little ledge, try and grapple across and then jump up. It's very, very easy to pick up the debuff at that point. And as you can see on this run, that's exactly what's happened. There's also enemies that spring out of seemingly nowhere here that do damage. It's genuinely really annoying. And then there's this little section here where you're having to bounce across to get to the boss. And it's genuinely not easy at all. It's so easy to get this stuff wrong. And although you can kind of course correct, like you saw me just do there, getting across to that first bird, making the jump, there we go, finally got it. Oh no, missed again. It doesn't seem to matter how much I play the game. I never quite got to grips with that downward strike to get myself up. And sometimes it seemed to come really naturally. Other times, as you can see, it's just going wrong constantly. So I was getting to the fight here, always at a disadvantage. And by the time I'd even really got into doing the fight, which again has multiple phases to it with ads, I just had enough. I just walked away. I walked away from bile water. Like, just have a bench at the point I'm at now on this run. Give players the opportunity to just heal up before they have this fight. That would make life so much easier. There's so much of this game I loved. The Cogwort Dancers fight is just a fab fight. It's beautifully designed. It's really clear what's going on all the time. It still has moments where it's like tricky and difficult, but it's completely doable. The Trobio fight is genuinely really challenging, and I struggled a bit here, but again, I never felt like the game was cheating me or that there was something happening in the fight that felt unfair. I always felt like I had a chance, like I could read what the boss was about to do and I could manage it. And that's what I want in a game like this. I want to feel like I am being pushed, I am being challenged, I do need to get good, but I want to feel like that is genuinely achievable. And in those later fights, I just didn't feel like that was true. Eventually, I went and had a crack at the lace fight, which I know is what gets you into Act 3. Like, I have to win this fight to progress the story of the game. And honestly, as much as I really desperately wanted to do it and get past her, I just couldn't. So what's that left me feeling about Silksong? I think it's a great video game. I think it has one of the most beautiful soundtracks I've heard in a really long time. Do I feel, though, like I'm ever going to beat it? No, I don't. It's definitely a skill issue. It's definitely an age thing. My reactions at 52 aren't what they used to be. Did I love Act 1? Yes, I did. Did I love an awful lot of Act 2? Yes, I did. Am I sad that I won't play Act 3? Yeah, a little bit. But I feel so much better playing Final Fantasy Tactics, feeling less frustrated, feeling like the challenge is a mental one, not a physical one, feeling like I can get through a video game without wanting to throw my controller on the floor, which at 52 is ridiculous. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider pressing the like button to let me know you've liked it. A subscribe would also be super helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when I'll probably be talking about how these aged hands of mine just can't hack Battlefield 6. Bye for now.